Hey, boys and girls. Today is Module 8, Lesson 15. And today we are going to be telling time to the nearest 5 minutes and telling the difference between AM and PM. All right. So when you look at this kind of clock, this is what we would call an analog clock. An analog clock is back before they had digital clocks like we use today. And the digital clocks are what you're most used to seeing. I brought downstairs that clock I was talking about that I bought for Riley and Sophia's rooms. So it looks like this. Like I said, I got it at Target. It was really cheap, but it's good for them because they need to see clocks that look like this also in their house. When you look at this clock, it is showing you that it is about 3 minutes until 12 o'clock. Now, how many times a day does 12 o'clock happen? It happens twice. It happens, 12 o'clock happens at noon, and then 12 o'clock happens again at midnight. So we have 12 o'clock noon, which is about lunchtime. It's like in the middle of the daytime. You can see it's daylight in my house. We have 12 o'clock midnight, and 12 o'clock midnight is like late at night, pitch black, I'm in bed. You probably are, hopefully. And that's 12 o'clock at night. So what we have to understand is the difference between, are we talking about 12 o'clock a.m. or are we talking about 12 o'clock p.m.? So what I want to write for you here is a.m. and p.m. 12 o'clock midnight. Get my paper fixed. Now, 12 o'clock midnight starts a.m. So a.m. starts really kind of in the middle of the night for most of us. And so 12 o'clock a.m., then it would go 1 o'clock a.m., 2 o'clock a.m., 3 o'clock a.m., 4 o'clock a.m., 5 o'clock a.m., 6 o'clock a.m., somewhere in there it's starting to get daylight. Around 6 o'clock a.m. So we need to remember that a.m. is kind of like also part of the morning where it's starting to get daylight. And then a.m. lasts 7 o'clock a.m., 8 o'clock a.m., 9 o'clock a.m. Our normal school day is starting. So it's still morning, 10 o'clock a.m., 11 o'clock a.m., and then it switches over now, 12 o'clock noon at about lunchtime. And then the 12 o'clock noon, that's when we switch over to p.m. And so we'll just kind of remember right around lunch, it's going to switch over to p.m. And then now we're back at 12 o'clock again, but it's not midnight. It's not the middle of the night. It is 12 o'clock noon. It's lunchtime. And then we go to 1 o'clock p.m., 2 o'clock p.m. On a normal day, we're having recess now. It's the afternoon, 3 o'clock p.m., 4 o'clock p.m. Now you've already gone home from school. About 4 o'clock p.m. It's the late afternoon. 5 o'clock p.m., 6 o'clock p.m. Somewhere in there you're having dinner. It's still p.m. 7 o'clock a.m., 8 o'clock p.m. Did I just say a.m.? 9 o'clock p.m. Somewhere around in there you're probably going to bed. 10 o'clock p.m., 11 o'clock p.m. You're sleeping. 12 o'clock midnight, you're asleep, and that's when it switches over to a.m. again. Okay. So I need to make sure that you can kind of keep thinking about this, but I have a whole bunch of pictures. And I'm going to show you a picture, and I want you to think about it, and I want you to call out AM or PM when you see it, and then I will say the answer, and you'll see how good you are at telling the difference between AM and PM, okay? All right, so let me get my stack of pictures here. All right. I was going to cut these apart, and I didn't do that. That's okay. All right, here's the first one here. Take a look at that one. Look at the clock. What time is it? That hour hand is between the 6 and the 7, and the minute hand's on the 6. So it is 6:30 in the morning. The girl is yawning. The sun is coming up. So 6:30 in the morning would be AM, PM. AM, good. Okay. Let's look at the next one. Okay, this little girl looks like she is getting on the bus. Now, or is she getting off the bus? It looks like she's getting on the bus because she's facing toward the driver, but we get on the bus twice a day. Some of us, we get on the bus after school and we get on the bus to go to school. So let's look at the clock. All right, the clock is 7:15. AM or PM? AM, yeah. Okay. Looks like these are going in order. Look at this. AM or PM? She's having breakfast, AM. Here's one. She's walking in the classroom. So we got to look at the clock. Looks like it's 8:05. Now, we wouldn't be having school yet, but this little girl is. Her school must start at 8 o'clock. So, AM. All right, now I'm going to mix them up because these, like I said, are totally going in order. All right, let's try this one here.
This is yours.
Okay. What time is it? An AM or PM? She's sleeping, but remember, we sleep some in AM and we sleep some in PM because we're sleeping in PM before midnight and then we're sleeping in AM after. So what time is it? 8:35? She must be little. I would say this must really be a school night. So 8:35 AM? No, she'd already be in school. 8:35 PM. Yep. Okay, let me find another one. Okay, here's one. AM or PM? What's happening? It looks like she is getting off the bus, but is she getting off the bus at school? Or is she getting off the bus in the afternoon? Well, let's look and see. What time is it on the clock? Did you say 3:20? So what's she doing? Is it 3:20 AM? No, she'd be sound asleep. Is it 3:20 PM? Yep, that's right. It's afternoon. It's after lunch, so it's PM. She's getting off the bus. All right, I think, oh, one more. Look at the picture clues. Looks like they're eating spaghetti. So it's probably dinner. What time is it? 5:45, did you say? In the digital world, we would say it's 5:45. AM or PM? Yeah, PM, good, dinner time. Dinner's in the PM, okay? All right, I think that goes through all of my AM, PM pictures. Oh, no, here's one. Here's one. What are they doing here? Looks like they're eating again. Looks like a sandwich. That makes me think lunch. All right, let's see what time it is on the clock, though. 11:25. This one's a trick. Because normally we said noon, lunch, PM. But this class eats before us. This class is like my daughter's kindergarten class. They're eating at 11:25. So they're having lunch at AM. Lunch is tricky because if you eat an earlier lunch, it could be AM. If you're eating a later lunch, it could be PM. Remember that it switches right around lunchtime. So you got to really think about the clock here. Okay, that's good. And today, you are going to be in your problem set deciding whether each activity would happen in the AM or the PM. So remember, if it's around something that would happen around lunch, it could be either. It depends. It depends on if you're eating lunch before 12 o'clock noon or after 12 o'clock noon. But the rest of these things, you need to decide, did it happen in the AM or PM, and you circle it. And then the second part of your problem set is having you put the hands on the clock to match, and then you have to decide what might you be doing if it was that time in the AM or that time in the PM. So there you go. All right, guys, have a good time doing your math today. See you tomorrow.